What do we observe in that book? This. The vast majority of the cultural wits that Freud quotes are related to money, social status, or property. The first example Freud gives is related to this steward. Ich saß neben Salomon Rothschild und behandelte mich ganz wie seinesgleichen, ganz familionär. In this text, money as humor are often presented as a way for the subject to express behavior and assertions socially that wouldn't at all without them. Money regards always strategies to spare psychic energy in the process of repressing social attitudes that aren't allowed. In other terms, it is very difficult socially to behave like a rich for someone who is not rich. Such person understand that the arrogant attitude a rich person come to adopt potentially is a psychic luxury. Money gives the possibility to spare this energy on repressing some instinctive charges. In Freud's work, the psychic economy and the economics seem the same thing and to work alike. Like in Die Zukunft einer Illusion und das Unbehagen der Kultur. The fundamental questions that the metapsychology raises look alike those raised in the trade of goods. He writes, so scheint jetzt das Schwergewicht vom Materiellen Weg aufs Seelische verlegt. Wir sind unversehens auf dem Ökonomischen ins Psychologische hinübergeglitten. On Garxamel's point of view, one doesn't slip from economy to the psychic realities, but they belong all together. Economics are the domain of all slipping, transformation, psychic negotiation, where everything is a question of damming up, retaining, connecting things together. Semel concludes the essay Differenzierung und Kraftersparnis in his book entitled Über die soziale Differenzierung, presenting money as a prosthesis of the mind to spare mental work. Instinctive forms and aspirations, for instance, crystal in it. Money allows it to give access into the cultural world to instinctive representation without even being aware of it, because money represents charge of energy someone who possesses it doesn't have to be conscious of in order to benefit from them. Money is the media of consequent and connected facts as a capital of energy which effects can be as synchronic as diachronic. Zimmer also explains that money as a cultural accessory allows the subjects to repress, verdrängt, what it means historically to deal with the economical event and facts, sometimes terrible, of commercial values. The pieces of paper in which we translate the fact of values don't allow oneself to be conscious of what is happening meanwhile on the psychic level. Money is a psychic screen. In this perspective, money is only a detail like those Freud studies in the dreams. Zemel sees in the economy of money a process made of what he calls condensation and mobilization, Kondensiertheit and Mobilisierung of the values. He thinks, for instance, of the way the stock market reduces values in a single place, in single economic medias. Zemel is in the position to describe the process of the stock market exactly like Freud does it when he studies the dream. What Zemel calls in a condensation and mobilization, Freud names it in a German fashion and die Verschiebungsarbeit. The condensation for Zimmel defined the fact money has to concentrate in a few sites, the fact of transaction and signification of value. Das Geld steht Vermöge der Abstraktheit seiner Form jenseits aller bestimmten Beziehungen zum Raum. Es kann seine Wirkungen in die weitesten Fernen entstrecken, ja, es ist gewissermaßen in jedem Augenblick der Mittelpunkt eines Kreises potenzieller Wirkungen. The focus of the economy is not cities anymore, but the stock market. Diese doppelte Kondensiertheit der Werte in die Geldform und des Geldverkehrs in die Börsenform ermöglicht es, dass die Werte in der kürzesten Zeit durch die größte Zahl von Händen hindurch gejagt werden. The condensation conducts to the concept of mobilization. In the network of modernity, the mobilization supposes not a topic but a dynamic of the value. In the logic of financial instruments, circulation is more important than what circulates. This is why that in the stock market, the total production of cotton or oil, for instance, is exchanged several times between different hands. The mobilization doesn't define the phenomenon of a generalized mobility of things, but a mobilization of things to the reaching point of the stock markets. The mobilization denies any form of persistence. The movement toward the stock markets now loses any limit. Things lose their form. Die Welt bietet das Schauspiel eines Perpetuum mobile. The similarities between Semmel's concept of condensation and mobilization on one hand and of Freud's concept of Verdichtungs- and Verschiebungsarbeit on the other hand is no coincidence or simple analogies. They reveal how the stock market finally works as a social out which work the psychic apparatus with its three levels: unconscious, preconscious, and conscious. For Simmel at least, the relationship is obvious if we consider this characteristic presentation of money in his text of 1996, Money in the Modern Culture. He reminds that money allows those who have it in the public corporations to behave in a less moral way as they would do if they had to commit themselves with their own hands what money allows them to do indirectly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to make 2 points to your very interesting lecture. The first is a commentary, and I would like to get to know if you agree with my commentary or not. I had the impression that the discourses you presented us of Avenarius, of Freud, and of Simmel itself, it's part of that, what one could call the economization of science and thinking itself. This economization does not start with Freud. I would only refer to Darwin, who transferred nature into economical machinery with the survival of the fittest and all these metaphors in this discourse, and the same might be true with Marx. So I have the opinion with Simmel and with Max Weber that this economization of thinking is in the center of that what Max Weber has called die Entzauberung der Welt, the disenchantment of the world. By the way, there is an interesting break in Simmel itself, because in some parts of the book, the philosophy of money you mentioned, he has a hope that the soul might be, the seele might be a niche, a protected area of subjectivity against the dynamic he described in his book. And the second question is very brief. Money is only a detail. You quoted, you described Simmel's self-interpretation, but how does it fit together with our contemporary discourse, where we characterize media not as only as passive, but part of constructing a world on a practical but also on a symbolical level?
Thank you. Well, for the first question, I will answer related to a methodological aspect. Well, when I worked on George Simmel's philosophy of money for my dissertation, I looked at what existed in the 19th century regarding the concept of economy. And I was amazed to see how economy as a concept, and with all the terms that are related to it, like circulation, evaluation, value, and so on, were in all sort of discourses. I mean, not only in the economics, that important when came the time to think in an economical way. I mean, in the faculties of law, in literature, in psychology, in biology, in theater, in all kind of domains, in criminology, the notions of economy were really present and weren't at all metaphor. I mean, nobody had the impression to borrow something from the economics while speaking in an economical manner. The economy was something related to the, I would say, a science of the when relations between two elements or several elements were profitable, then it was an economical process with no relations with the economy. So, and Avenarius was one of those philosophers, for instance, who translated in the good fashion this reality in the psychological and biological domains. And so why are we at that point today where economy seems on one hand so important, and on the other hand the property of a science called the economics, which wasn't so clear a few decades ago. Like I remember reading Friedrich Göttel Lilienfeld, when he described the Grundbegriffe der Nationalökonomie. Well, the concepts he tries to develop on behalf of the economics are inspired in the philosophical domain or in other domain, and they use philosophical notions from the Neo-Kantian, for instance, to describe these core concepts. So this is the first thing I would say. And so why are we at that point where money is so important? Well, for Simmel, it's clearly a pathology. I mean, he describes in a pseudo-Hegelianist way the function of money within the social dynamics. And well, what will he say about the value of money is that the value of money is only enthoben. It's only taken from the acts of values that must be concrete, like a service, like shoes, like bread, like something very concrete that has a value. And money has value only in the fact that it's able to translate, relations of values between things that have no relations in reality. I mean, if we don't have money as a prosthesis to think the relations of value between things, we will have a hard time working on that evaluation. And that's why money is a way to spare mental energy. I mean, imagine if you go to a coffee shop, you take a coffee, you go without paying, and you say, well, I helped some old lady to cross the street, so give me a coffee and it will be the same, and we'll all help each other and we'll be fine. So no, it won't be fine at all. It will be the civil crisis, because we wouldn't have these processes that helps us to spare all this energy we would have to use if we would have always to negotiate the value of things in a less systematic way. So for Simmel is the value of money is enthoben when things go on correctly, it's an utopia. It never happened. We cannot imagine that it happened so purely, but it's something imagined. And the pathological step occurs when money is not enthoben, but erhoben.